I am happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation.
I contributed the text of the suggested opening paragraphs that Dr. King might consider using.
As we think about the remarkable life of Attorney Clarence Jones, a confidant, a friend to Dr. Martin Luther King, he helped to draft his iconic speech, I Have a Dream. And for us to spotlight him is to remember him and to honor his accomplishment. And when we think of Attorney Clarence Jones and his remarkable life and the relationship and friendship that he had with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and he helped to draft his iconic speech, I Have a Dream. We are so very fortunate to have this platform, so you will also know that these unsung heroes should always be remembered among the greats.
What I simply wrote down was a summary of what he and I and Stanley Levison, Baird Rustin and other people had talked about. I had just simply summarized those ideas and put them in a form in which he might consider using them in his opening remarks.
One day right now in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today.
I know that among all of the ancestors who are smiling from heaven above, your brother, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is smiling from heaven above right now.
Yeah, I know that he is. He's smiling and I'm smiling back at him, the greatest man in the 20th century.
So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream.
What was your initial meeting of Attorney Jones and you think would be among his greatest accomplishments?
How we met was around Clarence, you and I. When we did the Voices of the Dream concert in honor of the 50th anniversary of the I Have a Dream speech, when University of Michigan was honoring Clarence.
Martin Luther King Jr. may have done more to achieve political, racial, and social justice in America than any other person or event in the previous 400 years of this country.
And he was the professor from Stanford that represented Dr. King's intellectual papers, chosen by Claiborne Carson. And Claiborne Carson was given the intellectual papers by Coretta Scott King to build a whole Martin Luther King building and educational seminar and institution around Dr. King. And he chose Clarence because he was not only his speechwriter, but he was his personal advisor and legal advisor and wrote many of his speeches, including drafting the first 7 paragraphs of the I Have a Dream speech. I think it was 2012. Clarence was speaking about a book he had just written called What Would Martin Say? And it was an amazing book, and he had the right to write a book, What Would Martin Say? Because he, knew him so well and wrote many of his speeches, but one of the chapters was on anti-Semitism. And he had said, Dr. King had told him that he could foresee someday that maybe, maybe the community, might say negative things about the Jewish community. He says, Clarence, I know you. You will be the one to remind people of the 24/7 commitment that the Jews had to our struggle. And so, as a Jewish woman in the audience at the African American Museum, of course, that spoke to me. And right after he was done with his lecture, I introduced myself. I am so honored to be sitting here with Dr. Clarence B. Jones and Dr. Anderson. This is just unbelievable. It's a historical moment. And I'm honored because I'm working so hard to build bridges and create unity and spill the honey and really build compassion in the world and work on building alliances between communities. And Dr. Jones and I have been working very hard on building the coalition, rebuilding the coalition between the African American and Jewish alliances that were so important during the Civil Rights Movement.
I am most concerned about in translating the legacy of Martin King. I am concerned for the first time in my life, for the first time, I am concerned that this alliance that was so rock solid, I'm concerned that it's being pulled apart. Sometimes I imagine what I'd write today for my dear friend Martin. I'd remind people that all hate thrives on one thing: silence. People who will change the nation are those who speak out, who refuse to be bystanders, who raise their voices against injustice. When we stand up to silence, we stand up to all hate.
In Proverbs it says if the lions don't tell their stories, the hunters will get all the credit. I'm telling you the story now because you're young lions and lionesses.
Rabbi Yaakov Prinz spoke immediately before Dr. King.
The most shameful and the most tragic problem is silence.
The civil rights challenges of our time, the human rights challenges of our day, they hang on me. They hang on you. They hang on who? They hang on us.
Because the single most powerful word in our democracy is the word we.
That word is owned by no one. It belongs to everyone.
We all need to get together to find out the bigger picture. Those who have been stepped upon have to lead the way.
There are too many people living in fear. If Rabbi Hersher and Martin Luther King Jr. were here today, I think they would be saying, we need to pull together to redeem the soul of America. The generation yet unborn.
I guess humbly, I would have to say that his work with Spill the Honey, I think in many ways in the film, Shared Legacies, maybe helped. You know, I just think our two communities have something that we did together in America that's very important. I feel proud of the fact that we have a film on it now, we have a curriculum, and that Clarence was integral to making this happen.
Spill the Honey symbolizes the coming together of the Black and Jewish community in an alliance to achieve their joint objectives and to celebrate their joint legacies.
We're going to experience the Spill the Honey anthem.
We gotta form a honeycomb, pollinate.
Molly Wilson scored our film. She's a Black Jewish woman she's originally from Chicago, lives in Atlanta, and she helped produce a lot of the hip hop artists. And what's amazing is she's just about to release the song that I was part of the writing with her and Craig Snyder, who happens to be Jewish, and it's called Spill the Honey, and it's about to be released now. And if anybody, she is the queen bee, and if anybody can bring that honey out of people, it's Molly Wilson.
Fannie Lou Hamer said nobody's free until we all alive.
Sherry Frank, who is a wonderful person, she was dear friends with the King family. I met her at the King Center, and she says, "You're Jewish and you're Black? This is amazing." Next thing I know, I get a call. I was working on Drake and Future's Time to Be Alive, which went gold in a week. So I was giving them this great safe place to record, and I get a call from Dr. Sherry Rogers saying, "Molly, Sherry Frank told me that you're Jewish and you're Black and you're Grammy nominated as a producer. Would you score the Shared Legacies film, where Clarence Jones and I come together to show the world when we come together and spill the honey, you know, we don't have to worry about the money." No, it was, you know, just pointing to her. She's just such a sweet person. And the foundation Spill the Honey, it does so much in education to educate people. I didn't know that we had this rich history during the Civil Rights Movement and on Congress, that we all came together. And so that's how we met. I got with Craig J. Snyder, my creative partner from years back in Chicago. We flew in and I said, okay, let's ask God to pour down the song. And I never do this. Right before I got in the studio, I opened my cell phone and I see Ralph Yarl, 16-year-old boy, shot off of a racist man's porch. And it crushed me. It crushed me because I have a bonus son, Bryce. I have several friends with young black sons that it just gives you PTSD and fear. And so when I heard the track, this is how God moved. And I'll send you the video. The entire melody of the song, not one change, came out, and No More Silence came out at the same time. It was like God just poured the song right out.
Wow. And you know, when I hear No More Silence, there is a saying, evil prevails when good men and women remain silent. And I think about the now late, great attorney Clarence Jones, who certainly is a man that we must pay respect to him. Your thoughts, having known attorney Jones, and why he must be remembered?
Well, I'll tell you something. Knowing the man that was the attorney and helped create the speech for Martin Luther King as an elder, as a friend, and a friend to Sherry, the knowledge that he poured into Eric and I, we did a couple tour things in Detroit, where we raised some money together, and in California with Sherry and the Spill the Honey movement. He was such a wonderful person. And he said, you two together, you girls together need to spread this movement. He was a wonderful human being. And I'm grateful that, you know, I got to meet him, be a part of this movement with him. And it's just so surreal. And I know he was upwards in his 90s, but you just are never prepared for someone that you love to leave like that, you know?
Indeed so. And when I think of the song written, in part, of course, with your husband, Eric D. Wilson, and Craig Snyder, and Dr. Sherry Rogers, it becomes a masterpiece.
She poured so much knowledge into me. I'd heard of Fannie Lou Hamer. I've heard some things. So we're writing this song, and she goes, you got to fit Fannie Lou Hamer. And there was a part of the melody that was da 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 da. And that was where it just fit right in. Fannie Lou Hamer said, nobody's free until we all come together and spill the honey. And of course, at the end of the song, Spill the Honey is the ride out, because that's what we're doing here.
Spill the honey.
Continue, Molly, and keep on spilling the honey.
And thank you. You are the best. And take care, honey.